This is Vader Reviews. We are honored that you would join us as we discuss Chapter 11 of The Mandalorian. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to recognize Heroes of the Empire Captain Matthew Nicholson, Stormtrooper Captain Noah Dingley, Evan Lane, and I'm just happy to be a Stormtrooper, Adam Jordan, for their generous donations last weekend. You are all a credit to the Empire, and I really can't thank you enough for your support. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating to our PayPal today so we can continue to bring you weekly videos. My apologies if you find my lack of pep disturbing. Rest assured I am not coming down with anything. It's just between hunting down the rebellion, working tirelessly on our fan film, and producing weekly videos, I haven't been getting enough rest lately, and I'm feeling a bit worn out, so just bear with me. The adventures of Din Djarin and the Child Eater continue as Mando falls with style and pulls a Captain Sully parking his space jalopy in the water on Planet Deadliest Catch, where they meet a strangely dressed Mon Calamari. I don't know what it is with the costumes in Star Wars lately. First there was Emo Ren in his crappy little comfy boyfriend sweatshirt at the end of episode 9. And now we have this Mon Calamari looking like Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. After reuniting Froppy with her husband Mr. Toad, Mando, in an uncharacteristically trusting move, books passage with Davy Jones and his gang of Squidbillies. And you'd think he'd have an inkling that something fishy was going on and sense that it's a trap! While on Squidward's rowboat of doom, the shifty Koran opens up a trap door, nearly sending Baby Yoda to a watery grave. Fortunately, the little green Mogwai closes his bassinet so he doesn't get wet. He is, however, swallowed by a space kraken Jonah style. Mando jumps in the water to save his little buddy and immediately becomes a useless flailing moron who can't swim. Just then, a Mandalorian and two Womandalorians show up and save Din Djarin's space bacon. The aforementioned Womandalorians are Bo-Katan and professional wrestler Sasha Banks, who proceed to put a smackdown on Squidly Diddly and his crew of miscreants. They pull Mando out of the water like a bag of rusty doorknobs, and he asks them to save the child from the sea monster. Now, this is one of my problems with this episode. This is the guy that just jumped down the throat of a crate dragon at the beginning of the season, and he sees it as his sacred quest to return the child to his people, and he asks someone else to save the kid?
This episode was badly written!
It is inconsistent with his character, and one of many times he is undercut by these other Mandalorians. However, where this episode earned my respect was in allowing Katie Sackhoff to reprise her role of Bo-Katan, since she voiced the character on the Clone Wars series. It gave a greater authenticity to the character, and I know it made a lot of fans happy. Even so, the casting of this episode caused slight problems with the continuity. Let me explain with a little Star Wars history lesson. The Clone Wars began in 22 BBY, that's before the Battle of Yavin. Here we see Kenobi and Bo-Katan, who appears to be anywhere from 20 to 25 years of age. Moving forward through time, to the events of Episode 4, we see how much my old master has aged. The Mandalorian takes place 6 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, meaning 32 years have passed since our picture of Bo-Katan and Kenobi during the Clone Wars, and somehow after all this time, the years of war and hardship, she still looks practically the same. Bo-Katan, more like Botox if you ask me. But while we're on the subject of Bo-Katan, it brings me to something that concerns me for the future of this series. When Din Djarin does not approve of Katan and her soldiers removing their helmets, she calls him an extremist. And just in case you don't know who Bo-Katan is, she was part of a terrorist group named Death Watch, and tried to overthrow her sister's peaceful government, and she's calling Mando an extremist because he doesn't want to take off his helmet? I'm concerned this might be setting up a character arc for Din Djarin, where he will eventually turn his back on his classic Mandalorian beliefs and abandon his creed, just so he can take off his helmet for more face time. particularly since we've seen Star Wars writers tear down the traditions and mythology of the Jedi in recent years. Back to the story, though. Bo-Katan tells Mando she will tell him where he can find the Jedi if he helps her and her team steal some Imperial blasters so she can track down Moff Gideon and retrieve the black saber he stole during the Purge and create a new Mandalorian society. Most likely one where you don't wear helmets. And being the genius tactician that she is, as they board the Imperial supply ship, she gets on the comlink and starts telling Captain Spraytan how they're going to take over his vessel.
Not a great plan.
Now I'll admit, seeing a team of Mandalorians fight stormtroopers was pretty wizard, but once again they made jokes about the TKs not being able to hit the broadside of a barn, and those kind of meta franchise jokes are starting to get old. After our intrepid heroes make their way to the bridge, the captain pulls a Hydra and chomps down on a suicide pill to avoid interrogation about the black saber. The episode ends with Bo-Katan offering Mando a place in her ranks, again making me think he might eventually abandon his creed. The biggest moment for many fans was the mention of Ahsoka Tano. On one hand, it is refreshing that they are trying to make fans happy by bringing in characters from the Clone Wars era. But while many people love Ahsoka and are excited to see her return,
I assure you, I am not one of them!
Bryce Dallas Howard did a great job in the director's chair once again. She is an excellent storyteller and a fine actress, but this particular episode didn't excite me as much as the rest of the internet apparently. This chapter honestly felt like the finale we should have gotten in last week's episode with the spiders. Almost as if they wrote a story and realized, you know what, we could probably stretch this into 2 episodes if we just made this spider scene a bit longer, turning what should have been one complete story into 2 filler episodes. Which wouldn't be a problem if we got 24 episodes per season like classic television shows. But since all we get is 8, every chapter counts, and the pressure to deliver something truly amazing is much higher than it normally would be. In the end, while I did have problems with this episode, and I do not have any personal nostalgic connection to the Clone Wars series, for the creative visuals, exciting action set pieces, and clear effort to satisfy the fans, I still give this chapter 3 out of 5 Death Stars. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. This has been Vader Reviews. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, and follow me on Twitter at Vader Reviews. Join the Empire today. You do not yet realize your importance. Share these videos, and together we will rule the internet. And always remember, you don't know the power of the dark side.